A reading from the first letter of St. John. Beloved, this is the message that we have heard from Jesus Christ and proclaim to you. God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. If we say we have fellowship with him while we continue to walk in darkness, we lie and do not act in truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, then we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of his Son Jesus cleanses us from all sin. If we say we are without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we acknowledge our sins, he is faithful and just, and will forgive our sins and cleanse us from every wrongdoing. If we say we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. My children, I am writing this to you so that you may not commit sin. But if anyone does sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous one. He is expiation for our sins, and not for our sins only, but for those of the whole world. Verbum Domini.
Dominus vobiscum. Lectio Sancti Evangelii secundo Matteum. When the Magi had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Rise, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him. Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. He stayed there until the death of Herod, that what the Lord had said through the prophet might be fulfilled. Out of Egypt I called my son. When Herod realized that he had been deceived by the Magi, he became furious. He ordered the massacre of all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity, 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had ascertained from the Magi. Then was fulfilled what had been said through Jeremiah the prophet. A voice was heard in Ramah, sobbing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be consoled, since they were no more. Verbum Domini. We see here so soon after Christmas the hatred of the powers of sin and death against the Redeemer of the world. Imagine being that child Jesus. From here he is, the incarnate love of God, and he is immediately hated, and all of his life the world is trying to snuff him out, hunt him down, figure out a way to get rid of him and put him to death. We're very familiar with that when Jesus begins his public ministry and begins to reveal who he is or reveal the Father, and men rise up and begin to plot against him until they seemingly prevail over him and bring him to his death and his crucifixion. But we know that he rises victorious. But already, shortly after he's born, their enemy is against him to make sure he will not succeed in his mission. Clearly, the devil is wondering who he is, and because of his uncertainty, he'll just try to get rid of him. And this is what happens in our own lives. In our baptism, God takes hold of our hearts, and he makes this his dwelling place within us. And what does the devil do? He immediately goes on the attack. The power of darkness is at work in order to snuff out that light. The power of death is at work in order to take away that life within us. And we all feel a bit like Herod when we are in that darkness. Notice what kind of crazed men and women we become, or what lunatics we can be when we are in sin. When we're in darkness, Jesus becomes this enemy. Try speaking to someone who's hardened their heart against the Lord. You can say anything you want, they're fine. But you dare say, have you ever thought about coming back to church? Why? Yeah. I mean, they just about go insane. If you want to see somebody act possessed, many people have dealt with that during this Christmas season. You get together with your families, and if you happen to be the one who goes to church, watch out. You're this terrible, evil, judgmental, horrible person inflicting guilt and torture upon the other person. Well, that's what you experience when you're trying to be close to the Lord. And there's always this confusion that we're asked as priests, I don't know what I said. I don't know what I did. I'm just trying to be close to the Lord. And the response to that is hatred. And it's craziness. And that's what we see in Herod. He doesn't even know Jesus, but he's threatened by him. This king sitting on an earthly throne, threatened by a poor baby in a manger. That's how ridiculous we all can be when we reject Christ. But I'd simply provide for you this morning a meditation that was given to us in the divine office. And it says all of these things in a way that comes from the words of a saint, far better than I could offer you. So I simply share this with you this morning. Herod, why are you afraid when you hear that the king has been born? He does not come to usurp your place. He comes to conquer the devil. But you do not understand this, and so you are in a frenzy, mad with rage. And your determination to destroy the one infant whom you seek makes you inhumanly indifferent to the deaths of so many others. You slay those little ones, the holy innocents, because fear in your heart slays you. You think, if only I succeed in my purpose, mine will be long life. But in reality, you are seeking to murder life itself. He, the source of grace, small yet immense, lies in a manger and terrifies you on your throne. Though they know it not, these children die for Christ, and their parents are mourning the deaths of martyrs. The Christ child has made babies who are unable to talk, fitting witnesses to himself. How great was the grace thus bestowed! Not through merits of their own did those infants conquer the great adversary. They could not speak, yet they confessed Christ. Helpless to enter the battle, they still carried off the palm of victory. As we said in one of the antiphons of the divine office this morning, the children sing praise to God. In death, they preach what their young mouths could not utter.